Something has shifted in the Brown family, and if you've been following this story for any length of time, you already know that when one chapter seems to close, another one opens with even more questions. Just when fans thought the dust had finally settled after years of emotional breakups, fractured relationships, and unforgettable family confrontations, a new development has everyone talking. And this latest turn isn't just adding another layer to the family's complicated history, it may be changing the way many people see the Browns altogether. For years, viewers watched the Brown family present themselves as a united front, sharing the highs and lows of plural marriage on television. But over time, the cracks became impossible to ignore. Relationships that once appeared stable slowly unraveled, trust was tested, and long-standing tensions finally surfaced in ways that could no longer surfaced in ways that could no longer. As one marriage after another came to an end, fans wondered whether the family would ever find a new sense of peace. Instead, the story kept evolving, and now there's another unexpected twist that has reignited conversations across the Sister Wives community. What's especially interesting is that this latest development isn't just about one person. It reflects how dramatically the family dynamic has changed since the early seasons. The Browns are no longer living one shared lifestyle under the same roof. Today, each member is carving out a very different path with new priorities, new relationships, and in some cases, completely different perspectives on the family they once worked so hard to keep together. But that's only the beginning. One of the biggest changes over the past few years has been the growing independence of the original wives. After decades of trying to make plural marriage work, several of them chose to move forward on their own terms. Those decisions didn't just reshape their personal lives, they transformed the entire Brown family story. Fans watched as each woman began rediscovering herself outside the marriage, Some focused on business ventures. Others embraced traveling, spending more time with their children and grandchildren, or simply enjoying a level of freedom they hadn't experienced in years. For many viewers, these changes became just as compelling as the family drama itself. Meanwhile, Kody Brown found himself facing a reality few expected during the show's early years. The structure that had defined his family for decades had fundamentally changed. Instead of balancing multiple marriages, he was left navigating a completely different life than the one audiences had watched for nearly 2 decades. Naturally, opinions have remained deeply divided. Some viewers believe the family's separation was inevitable after years of unresolved conflict. Others argue that communication broke down long before cameras captured the biggest arguments. And there are those who feel everyone involved shares some responsibility for how things and some. But recently, another conversation has started gaining momentum. Fans have noticed subtle interactions, public comments, and changing family dynamics that suggest relationships within the Brown family continue to evolve even after the major separations. While not every rumor circulating online is supported by evidence, it's clear that family members are continuing to redefine how they interact with one another. But that has left many people wondering one important question. Could some relationships actually be improving behind the scenes? It's impossible to ignore how much time has passed since the family's most emotional moments aired on television. Time has a way of changing perspectives. Hurt doesn't always disappear, but people often find new ways to move forward, especially when children and grandchildren remain an important part of everyone's lives. Still, reconciliation is rarely simple. Years of emotional pain don't disappear overnight, and rebuilding trust can take far longer than breaking it. Even small gestures can carry enormous meaning after so much public conflict. Here's where things become even more interesting. Many members of the Brown family have become increasingly active outside the television series. Through interviews, social media updates, personal businesses, and public appearances, they're sharing more of their individual journeys than ever before. Rather than speaking solely as members of one large family, they're presenting themselves as individuals with unique goals and experiences. That shift has changed how fans is. That shift has changed. Instead of asking whether plural marriage succeeded or failed, many viewers are now more interested in seeing how each person is rebuilding life after such a dramatic transition. For some, the answer has been personal growth. For others, it's been finding happiness in new relationships, strengthening bonds with adult children, or simply creating a quieter, more peaceful lifestyle away from constant family conflict. And perhaps that's the biggest surprise of all. The Brown family story is no longer just about plural marriage. It's about what happens after everything changes. It's about rebuilding identity, repairing damaged relationships where possible, accepting painful endings where necessary, and discovering that life doesn't simply stop after a major chapter closes. That doesn't mean every conflict has been resolved. Far from it. Questions still remain about strained family relationships, differing perspectives on past events, and whether complete healing is even possible after everything that's happened has happened. Those conversations continue to unfold both on and off the screen, and it's likely viewers will keep following them closely. But one thing has become increasingly clear. The Brown family today looks nothing like the family audiences first met years ago. The relationships have changed. The priorities have changed. And that's exactly why every new update captures so much attention. Because viewers aren't just watching a television show anymore. They're watching real people adapt to extraordinary life changes in front of millions of people. Every new milestone, every family gathering, every social media post, and every interview adds another piece to a story that's still being written. Whether the future brings reconciliation, continued distance, or entirely new beginnings, only time will tell. One thing is certain, though. The Brown family's journey continues to surprise fans, proving that even after years in the spotlight, there are still unexpected turns waiting around the corner. What do you think this latest chapter means for the Brown family? Could some relationships eventually heal, or are certain divisions simply too deep to repair? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy reality TV drama, celebrity updates, and the latest Sister Wives news, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Even as the family continues moving in different directions, one thing hasn't changed: the public fascination with every new development. What once seemed like a story centered on one unconventional family has evolved into something much bigger. Viewers are no longer just following the marriages. They're paying close attention to how every family member is rebuilding life after years of emotional upheaval. And that's where this latest chapter becomes even more compelling. One of the most noticeable shifts has been the growing confidence shown by several members of the Brown family as they step further away from the roles they once held. In the past, many conversations revolved around keeping the family together at all costs. Today, the focus has largely shifted toward personal happiness, independence, and creating healthier lives moving forward. That transformation hasn't happened overnight. It has been built through countless difficult decisions, painful conversations, and the realization that sometimes moving on is the healthiest option, even when it's also the hardest. For longtime viewers, watching those changes unfold has been both emotional and eye-opening. But while some family members appear to be embracing fresh starts, others continue to face difficult questions from fans. Kody Brown, in particular, remains at the center of many online discussions. His past decisions, leadership within the family, and reactions during the breakdown of multiple marriages continue to spark debate. Some viewers sympathize with the immense pressure of managing such a large family, while others believe many of the conflicts could have been handled very differently. That divide in public opinion hasn't disappeared. If anything, every new interview, television episode, or public statement seems to reignite the conversation. But then there's Robyn Brown, whose role within the family has remained one of the most controversial topics among Sister Wives fans. Since joining the family years ago, she's often found herself at the center of heated discussions, with some viewers believing she became unfairly blamed for deeper issues that had existed long before she arrived. Others continue to argue that her relationship with Kody influenced family dynamics in significant ways. Those differing perspectives are exactly why every new update generates so much attention. The reality is that only the people directly involved know everything that happened behind closed doors. Television captures many important moments, but it can never fully represent years of private conversations, emotional struggles, and family decisions that happened when the cameras weren't rolling. That's an important point many fans acknowledge. Still, because the Browns have shared so much of their lives publicly, viewers naturally form opinions based on what they've seen. Social media has only amplified those conversations, allowing every interview clip, family photo, or public appearance to be analyzed almost instantly. And sometimes it's the smallest moments that create the biggest headlines. A simple comment in an interview, a family member appearing at a special event, a photo shared online. Even something as small as who spends time together or who doesn't can quickly become the subject of widespread speculation. But speculation doesn't always tell the full story. Without direct confirmation from those involved, many online theories remain exactly that, and confirmed theory. While fans enjoy connecting the dots, it's important to separate verified information from assumptions, especially when discussing real people's lives. Even so, one trend has become increasingly difficult to ignore. Many members of the Brown family appear focused on strengthening the relationships that matter most to them now, whether that's spending time with children, celebrating milestones with grandchildren, expanding personal businesses, or pursuing long-delayed dreams. There's a noticeable shift toward building individual futures rather than trying to recreate the past. That may be the most significant change of all. Years ago, almost every major decision revolved around protecting the family structure. Today, many decisions seem centered on personal fulfillment and emotional well-being instead. And perhaps that's why this new chapter feels so different. It's no longer simply about who stayed and who left. It's about what everyone has learned along the way. Some have spoken openly about finding greater confidence. Others have discussed discovering independence they never imagined possible. Several have described finally feeling able to make choices based on their own happiness rather than expectations placed upon them years earlier. For many viewers, those personal journeys have become just as meaningful as the original family story itself. Of course, that doesn't erase the pain that came before. Broken relationships leave lasting scars. Family divisions don't disappear simply because time passes, and rebuilding trust, if it happens at all, often requires patience, honesty, and a willingness from everyone involved. Whether that will happen within the Brown family remains uncertain. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The story that millions of viewers have followed for years is entering an entirely new era, one defined less by plural marriage and more by personal remarriage and healing and the difficult process of moving forward. For longtime Sister Wives viewers, that's exactly what makes every new development impossible to ignore. The Brown family's story has reached a point where even the smallest update can spark days of discussion. What once revolved around one household is now a collection of individual journeys, each unfolding in its own direction. And despite everything that's happened, fans continue searching for one answer above all else. Can this family ever truly heal? That question has become even more important as more of the Brown children have built lives of their own. Many of them are now raising families, pursuing careers, and creating futures separate from the complicated world they grew up in. Unlike the early years of the series, the spotlight is no longer focused solely on the parents. Adult children have increasingly shared their own perspectives, giving viewers a broader understanding of how growing up in such an unusual family shaped their experiences. Those perspectives haven't always matched. Some family members have spoken positively about parts of their childhood, expressing gratitude for the close relationships they formed with siblings despite the challenges. Others have been more candid about the emotional struggles they experienced, explaining that life inside such a large and complicated family wasn't always as harmonious as it appeared on television. That's where the conversation becomes so much more. Every family member lived a different version of the same story. The experiences of one person don't necessarily cancel out another's. Two siblings can grow up under the same roof and walk away with completely different memories. That's one reason the public discussion surrounding the Browns has become so layered. There isn't just one perspective anymore, there are many. And every new interview seems to add another piece to the puzzle. As family members continue speaking about their experiences, viewers have started comparing those accounts with moments shown on the series over the years. Scenes that once seemed ordinary are now being revisited with fresh eyes, leading fans to wonder whether certain tensions had been quietly building long before they became impossible to hide. Some believe the warning signs were there from the very beginning. Others think the biggest problems didn't emerge until the family faced major life changes, including multiple moves, financial pressures, and the challenges of raising such a large group of children under constant public attention. Whatever the cause, one fact is difficult to dispute. Life under the microscope of reality television brings enormous pressure. Every disagreement has the potential to become. Every emotional conversation can be replayed countless times. Every decision invites praise from some viewers and criticism from others. Few families experience that level of scrutiny for as many years as the Browns have. And that reality may have shaped the story just as much as anything happening inside the family itself. Imagine trying to navigate personal struggles while knowing millions of people will eventually watch and analyze every word you say. It's a situation that few people can truly understand, and one that almost certainly added another layer of complexity to relationships that were already under strain. Perhaps the most fascinating part of this entire story is how differently each member has responded to change. Some have embraced public life even more than before, continuing to share updates through interviews, social media, and business ventures. Others have become noticeably more private, choosing to step away from the spotlight whenever possible and focus on life beyond the cameras. Neither approach is right or right. It simply reflects how differently people cope after years of living in front of an audience. Meanwhile, fans remain deeply invested in what comes next. Every new season, every public appearance, and every social media update is examined for clues about where relationships stand today, or old wounds again stand today. Have certain family members quietly reconnected? Or are some divides simply too deep to ever fully repair? For now, there are very few clear answers. What is clear, however, is that the Brown family's journey has evolved far beyond its original premise. It's no longer just a story about plural marriage. It's become a story about change, resilience, personal growth, and the complicated reality of rebuilding a family after years of heartbreak. And just when it seems like the biggest surprises are behind them, another unexpected twist has a way of pulling everyone right back into the conversation. Because with the Browns, the story never seems to stay quiet for long. Just when it seemed the Brown family's future had become somewhat predictable, another shift reminded fans that this story is still unfolding in real time. Every family milestone, every interview, and every public appearance adds another layer to a narrative that has been evolving for well over a decade. And the more the family changes, the more viewers realize that the biggest drama isn't always found in explosive arguments. Sometimes it's found in the quiet decisions that permanently reshape relationships. One of the clearest examples is how differently family members now define success. Years ago, success often meant keeping the plural family together despite the challenges. Sacrifice was presented as part of the commitment, and maintaining unity appeared to be the ultimate goal. But today, many members seem to measure success in a completely different way. Now it's about peace, it's about independence, it's about building healthy relationships and creating a life that feels authentic rather than simply maintaining appearances. That shift has resonated with many viewers who have followed the family's journey from the very beginning. For some fans, watching individuals rediscover themselves after years of emotional struggles has been one of the most inspiring parts of the series. It hasn't always been as necessary, and the road has certainly been filled with heartbreak, but personal growth has become one of the defining themes of the Brown family's latest chapter. Of course, not everyone sees the situation the same way. The audience remains deeply divided whenever discussions turn to responsibility for the family's collapse. Some believe years of unequal attention and unresolved conflict slowly push the relationships toward an unavoidable breaking point. Others argue that no single person should carry all the blame because every long-term relationship is shaped by countless decisions made over many years. That's why conversations surrounding the Browns continue to generate so much debate online. Each new episode or interview tends to reinforce one important reality. People interpret the same events in very different ways. The Browns themselves have often described the emotional complexity of their situation, and viewers have seen firsthand that family relationships rarely fit into simple categories. Emotions overlap, perspectives differ, memories conflict, and that's exactly what makes their story feel so real. Unlike scripted television, there are no perfectly wrapped endings here. Real families don't resolve years of emotional pain in a single conversation, and healing rarely follows a straight path. Some relationships improve gradually, while others remain distant despite everyone's best intentions. That uncertainty keeps audiences invested. Many fans continue hoping that certain family bonds can eventually be repaired, not necessarily by returning to the past, but by finding healthier ways to move forward. Whether those hopes become reality remains unknown, but the possibility alone is enough to keep people watching. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward for every member of the family. Children become parents. Grandchildren bring new joy. Careers evolve. Businesses grow. New friendships and relationships develop. These milestones remind viewers that despite all the public drama, life doesn't stop. Every member of the Brown family continues writing a new chapter, whether cameras are present or not. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson this journey has offered. Sometimes the ending of one story creates the beginning of another. The family that millions first met years ago may never exist in the same form again, but that doesn't mean every future chapter has to be defined by conflict. Growth often comes through difficult transitions, and many viewers believe that's exactly what they're witnessing now. Still, questions remain. Will time soften old disagreements? Will family celebrations eventually bring more people back together? Or will everyone continue building separate lives while maintaining a separate life? At this point, only the Browns know what conversations are taking place behind closed doors. Public appearances reveal only part of the picture, and social media offers carefully chosen glimpses rather than the complete story. That's why every confirmed update feels significant. It provides another piece of a puzzle that fans have been trying to understand for years. And if history has taught viewers anything, it's that the Brown family's story is rarely as simple as it first appears. Every answer seems to raise another question, and every new chapter opens the door to another unexpected turn. With so many lives continuing to evolve, one thing is certain: this family's journey is far from over. As this remarkable chapter continues to unfold, one truth has become impossible to ignore. The Brown family's story has outgrown the original idea that first brought millions of viewers to Sister Wives. What began as a series about plural marriage has transformed into something far more personal, a story about change, resilience, and the difficult reality of moving on when life doesn't go according to plan. Looking back, it's incredible to see just how much has changed. The family that once worked so hard to maintain one shared vision now consists of individuals following completely different paths. Some have embraced new opportunities, others have focused on healing old wounds, and many have found happiness in places they may never have expected years ago. That doesn't erase the heartbreak. It doesn't erase the difficult conversations, and it certainly doesn't erase the emotional moments that viewers witnessed over the years. But it does show that life keeps moving forward even after some of its most painful chapters. Perhaps that's why so many fans continue following the Browns long after the original family dynamic changed. The story isn't just about dramatic television anymore. It's about watching real people navigate major life transitions in front of a global audience. There have been moments of disappointment, moments that sparked heated debates across social media, and moments that reminded everyone that behind the headlines are real people dealing with real emotions. That's something worth remembering whenever new rumors begin circulating online. Not every viral post tells the whole story. Not every headline reflects reality, and not every theory shared by fans turns out to be true. As always, it's important to separate confirmed information from speculation and allow the people involved to tell their own stories whenever they choose. Even so, there's no denying that interest in the Brown family remains incredibly strong. Every interview generates discussion. Every social media update is carefully examined. Every family celebration or noticeable absence quickly becomes a topic of conversation among devoted viewers. That level of attention speaks to the lasting impact the series has had over the years. Whether you agree with the choices made by different family members or not, their journey has sparked conversations about marriage, parenting, independence, personal growth, and what it truly means to redefine happiness after life takes an unexpected turn. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. Sometimes the most meaningful transformations don't happen during the loudest arguments. They happen quietly. They happen when someone chooses peace over conflict, or when someone decides to start over despite uncertainty. When someone discovers the courage to build a future that reflects who they are today rather than who they used to be. For the Brown family, that process is still ongoing. No one can say with certainty what the next chapter will bring. There may be reconciliations, there may be conciliations, there may be unexpected reunions, surprising announcements, or entirely new directions that no one sees coming. After all, if the Brown family's history has taught fans anything, it's that expectations can change overnight. And that's exactly why people continue watching, because just when it seems like the story has finally reached its conclusion, another unexpected turn reminds everyone that it's far from over. As new seasons unfold and family members continue sharing pieces of their individual journeys, one thing remains certain. The Brown family's legacy will continue to evolve, and fans will be there to witness every milestone, every challenge, and every surprise along the way. So what do you think? Has the Brown family finally found a healthier path forward? Or do you believe even bigger surprises are still waiting around the corner? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoy the latest Sister Wives updates, reality TV drama, celebrity news, and in-depth entertainment stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.